What's going on, YouTube? Thanks again for tuning in to another episode here on the Speedbug channel. We've had a little bit of lack of content here today. We've had Tropical Storm Alberto kind of screw everything up over Memorial Day weekend for us down here in Florida. So we've just had non-stop continuous amounts of just rain, and it's pretty much just been wet, you know, all for the most part over the entire weekend and a lot of last week. So luckily it's still been warm, but just some crappy weather. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to get a lot of the bikes out and, you know, have some fun and make some cool content for you guys. You know, I'd love to continuously make some more cool content, but with all my vehicles kind of being, you know, performance orientated, it kind of lacks a little bit, you know, for me to go out. I really can't take Snow White out and, you know, do anything besides, you know, slip and slide around, and that's pretty much for the most part in the Corvette, the Camaro, you know, the Groms, or anything like that. Oh, also, quick update as well on the Ducati X Diavolo. That is done. That is at Ducati, and it is waiting for me to pick it up. So I will be going to pick that up here shortly. Again, it doesn't have any back fender or anything like that. You know, it's kind of an open wheel bike, so I won't be able to ride that home without getting completely soaked. So I'll just go ahead and wait until the weather has let up and cleared up, and then we'll go ahead and get it home. Probably sometime this week or so. But the bike is done. Actually, everything that was replaced on the motorcycle was the entire brake system. The only thing that they reused pretty much was the lever. So they replaced the reservoir, the lines, the master cylinder, the calipers, the pads, the rotor, and everything after it locked up. So I went ahead and checked it out. It was real nice. The plunger feels good inside the master, and there's way more feel than it ever had before. So thank you, Ducati. Appreciate that and getting it timely wrapped up. But this whole 2-3 week turnaround bullshit, you know, not the dealer's fault, Ducati fault in Italy. We got to speed that shit up. So, but other than that, we got her back running and going, so that's all that matters. So we're good on this area. But this video here is about, obviously, looking to obtain another motorcycle. And the new motorcycle that I really want to get, it's between the two. And I've chosen these two, and if I don't get either one, it's no big deal. But I always make it a point to usually buy something, you know, make a large purchase around Memorial Day weekend. Whether it's furniture for my house, whether it's a new car, a new motorcycle, whatever it is, because Memorial Day weekend here in the United States typically means that, based off of research and everything, that's better than Black Friday and the New Year's and after Christmas sales and all that shit. It tends to be the best sale weekend or day to buy any large purchases. And that includes even from banks and other lenders and stuff like that. So obviously, depending on what you're going to buy, you have to check, you know, the maker, the manufacturer, to see exactly what and who is going to give you the best deal. So let's say you're going out to buy, you know, a new Corvette or anything like that. Maybe for that weekend, you know, GM Financial may say, hey, if you buy a new Corvette and finance it under GM Financial, you'll get 0% for 60 months or 72 months. I know they did that once on the Camaro when I had my Camaro, but I went through another finance company and I didn't get it. So also, but there's some stipulations and stuff on that. You obviously have to have, you know, really good credit and perfect, or, you know, damn near perfect credit to get any of that, you know, come in as a tier 1. If you come in as a tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, obviously the rates are going to jump down. And after you pretty much jump past the tier 2, they're going to fall in the same bracket category as you would buy at any other weekend. It's primarily designed for individuals that have tier 1 credit, meaning perfect credit. If I had to put a number on it, I would say minimum 700 and above. So if you're above 700, you're even more golden. So long story short, the two bikes that I've actually narrowed it down to is another Ducati, yes, a third one, and I really want the Hypermotard. Still up in the air between the red and the white, but I think I'm leaning a little bit more towards the white, considering I already have my red Ferrari sitting right here behind me. So leaning a little bit more towards the white, and I like that bike, and I'm gonna show some pictures of it here on the screen as I'm talking. It's like the ultimate hooligan bike. It's pretty much a bigger Grom. And I love the Grom. Out of all my bikes the most, it's definitely the one I have the most fun on. even though it's the slowest one or anything like that. And you know, my BMW is still my most favorite bike, but it is still the bike I have the most fun on. I just love that bike, and I thought I was going to have buyer's remorse with that thing, and I never do. Every time I ride that thing, I get the biggest smile on my face. I love it. The worst thing about it is just the seat's uncomfortable for a little bit. And other than that, I mean, maybe I'll eventually just put another seat on it, or just get off and stretch my ass a little bit, and then I get back on it. It's no big deal. I really have no complaints about it. So, and the Hyper is just like, it's like a better extension, a better version of it. You know, it's got 110 or 120 horsepower, something like that. It's a pretty kick-ass bike, and it's, you know, it's a supermoto, you know, or you call a hypermoto, whatever, because they kind of created their own category. So, you know, all the, you know, supermotos are pretty much dirt bikes with street tires on them, and, you know, have 30, 40, maybe 50 horsepower. Well, this one I know obviously has over 100 and stuff. Now, you're sitting straight up and going open air and stuff like that. You know, it's not obviously the bike that you pretty much want to travel down the expressway and be doing 120, 130 miles an hour, which you can do no problem, but you're kind of, you know, up all the way. That's a lot of wind that's going to constantly beat across your chest, and you're going to pretty much act as your parachute, and that's fine for a mile or two, but eventually that shit gets annoying. So, but it's really just the ultimate hooligan bike, and that's kind of why I want it to pretty much putz around, do wheelies, make cool videos for you guys, share the experience, and just have fun with it. I just love that bike. You know, I love the dirt bike. That's going to be pretty much the next motorcycle I get will be a dirt bike. Once I get a car or a little bit of land or an area where I can actually live and go ride the dirt bike. And the new dirt bike I want is the new Honda CRF 450. And that thing is sick. Dual overhead cam, you know, dual exhaust point to get the heat out of the motor, liquid cooled. It's just an all-around great bike. If you haven't looked at it, make sure you check that out as well. That bike is killer. Now, the other bike that I'm continuously looking at, and why I am thinking, you know, should I get this or should I not? And it also has to do with, again, the manufacturer financing. Oh, and by the way, these two bikes that I've narrowed down, these are two bikes that I wanted, and they actually so happen to have 0% financing to come in, obviously, if you meet all the criteria, if you buy the motorcycle during this Memorial Day weekend, or I think a couple days or so after, I think up to the 30th or the 31st of the month, you have to get the deal or sign the papers to get them locked in. Either way, no big deal. We'll get it done if we decide to go ahead and get this. And it's kind of more of, I guess for me, the more nostalgia feeling. Now, I'm a diehard Suzuki guy. I've had 4 of them, you know, some Gigster 1000s. Had a Gigster Frankenstein bike, 600 chassis, 750 motor we shoved in it with 600 gears. It was a monster. I only had a top speed about 175, but man, did it get to 175, you know, faster than probably any of the 1000s that I currently have today, because it would just run through the gears like it was sitting still. But anyway, that's another story. The bike that I want is the new 2018 GSXR 1000. I'm gonna show a picture of it here in a second. I want that blue and white, that traditional Suzuki GSXR 1000 theme. Why do I want this bike? Again, because to me, obviously, it's way more comfortable than my Ducati, because that bike, hands down, has got to be the most uncomfortable bike I've ever had. But again, she's just so pretty. But anyway, the S1000 is 10 times more comfortable. This bike is fast. I use this bike a lot now, primarily to race, and it kicks ass in pretty much everything that I ask it to do. It's all optioned out. So again, you know, this bike here is obviously a lot faster than this bike. And now when you start to compare, okay, you have this bike and you have this bike, like, you can pretty much say the two most badass crotch rockets currently on the market right now, as a whole. I guess if I had to probably pick another one to say that I'm missing, I'm probably missing the R1M as the ultimate track bike. But then again, you could almost now argue this, that the Panigale V4 will put laps down against the new R1M. that's kind of a debate that's still up there, but we all know Yamaha R1M has kind of always been pretty much dominant here on the racetrack. But anyway, I'm not going to get into debate of which one's faster on the track by a half a second or this, that, whatever. I don't really care. I want the new Suzuki GSXR 1000R, specifically because I love the way it rides. I love the way it feels. It's super comfortable, super easy to work on. Not that I need to really be working on it because it'll be brand new, but just because I love that bike and I love that nostalgic feeling that it always gives me. It's one of my first bikes and I love it. Now, a big reason why I still cannot really find myself to pull the trigger on this bike is solely because I sit here and look, I have the S1000. This bike is bad as hell. Okay, people are still chasing this bike, and this bike set a lot of, you know, industry standards for a lot of the other bikes to come up. Okay, cool. And then you have the new Panigale. All right, and this bike's got kick-ass electronics. It's not the most comfortable to ride on the street, but man, when you get this sucker into the turns, it leans like crazy, you know, and it's awesome. Again, still both under warranty. So I have my corner carver and I have my race bike here. Now, why would you buy the Suzuki? Well, that's what I keep asking myself, because if I look at these bikes, besides the ease of working on it, unless I turn it into an all-out drag bike, which I don't know why I would, because it's brand new, because I would just buy a Hayabusa then or something. What does that bike do that my Panigale and S1000 doesn't? And I sit here and try and like wrap it around in my head, like it really doesn't do anything. Both of them are pretty much faster. Both of them turn, I would say the Panigale turns better. The S1000 turns pretty much probably about the same, you know, as far as tracking around a circuit track. So the GSXR, it really doesn't do anything besides, you know, it's got all the graphics and just looks cool and looks different and looks, you know, apart from the other ones. And besides, I just don't have a blue bike in my stable. Tongue twister. So I'm kind of still leaning a little bit more towards the Hypermotard, and I because it's a little bit different, and I can kind of do some, you know, I guess, I don't know, you could say funner activities on it, you know, rather than the GSXR. The GSXR, it's just like another crotch rocket. Now, if I didn't have any of, you know, these currently, you know, within my stable, meaning the S1000 or the V4, then I can understand it and I could see it. But I don't really see it serving any other purpose. If you guys can find something else, you know, maybe let me know, comment below, but I'm kind of leaning a little bit towards the, you know, the Hyper, but I still love the GSXR 1000R because it's just, I just love that bike. So, and if I get it, of course I'm gonna mod it. You know, I can't leave nothing alone. The technology in that bike is great, and for the price, you can't beat it. Like a drum with a hole in it. You just can't beat it. You can't beat it. The price for that bike is, you know, retail, it's like $17,000, you know, and a lot of people are having them on sale for $15 and stuff, and it's just, you can't beat it, and that's why I just love that bike. So I don't know, maybe I'll get both or something, you know. I don't think I'll get both right now. I don't think it's smart or wise to really obtain both, because now I think I'd just be collecting shit just to be collecting it. But I think one more until I get a dirt bike, that'll pretty much do it, and I've pretty much covered the entire spectrum. I have my mess around bikes to screw around. I have my crotch rockets that I want to go fast on, and I have my cruiser that I can drive to work every day that it's nice out, and then my Corvette is my winter car. We'll leave it at that. But I don't know. Figuring I'd share some thoughts. New bike might be coming to the Speedbug garage, Speedbug stable, and we'll see what happens. But again, if you have any opinions, you know, about the GSXR 1000 on why I should or why I shouldn't get it, or which one you think I should get, let me know. Comment below. You're always welcome. I love to hear what other people say, or maybe someone out there has both or has had all of these that, you know, and maybe looking to get someone else in the same position that I am. Let me know what you think. But I think that's going to conclude it here for today's video. If you like what you saw, don't forget to subscribe. Check me out on IG, Instagram. I call it Instagiggle at the Speedbug. Same name here as YouTube. And we will see you here for another episode here on the Speedbug channel, and get some weather to clear up shortly. Deuces.